All right, I want to give you a real talk perspective on time and the timeline, as of course it relates to the fitness journey, but you could actually use this to apply to any sort of goal that you have in order to make something a permanent part of your life, or AKA lifestyle, right? So we're talking about the way to have a one-way fitness journey. First thing I want to give you is a frame of reference for time, and that's 100 years. I want you to assume that if anyone is alive today, that there's a very good chance they're going to live to 100 years. With the advances in technology and information, that is a very good possibility. So what we want, of course, is a lifespan that matches health span as much as possible. But anyway, strictly lifespan speaking, we want to assume 100 years. Real talk, we got to make this body last 100 years. Okay, now as far as the timeline I've given, it was 1 to 3 years before, and now I'm going to explain why and break that down for you for what I consider a typical journey. Okay, so part of the 1 to 3 year time span could be because someone is historically, more precocious on the physical aspect, but it could also be that they just have a lot of other advantages, whether it's a lot of time or they're really good with, creating a schedule and sticking to it, that kind of stuff. But I really like to build in the same amount of time expectancy for everyone, mainly because of this. There are events that happen outside of our control, regardless of, expecting, right? So we expect life events to happen, but we never can be completely aware or know beforehand or be prepared for how it will affect us in real life, in real time, for its intensity, duration, and so the unexpected expected, or the expected unexpected, would be the things that happen with our age and phase and stages in life, such as career changes, moving, marriages, childbirth, death of loved ones, death of pets. But then we have, things like politics or world events, wars, weather events that we really can't control at all. And anyway, these are all things that could impact our energy and our emotions, as well as time. So that's why I like to build in a longer period of time. Now, of course, I always suggest to start with the foundational month, or build in the foundational month. So if you start with the foundational month, this month is 0, and that is basically scrubbing your plate clean. We get you ready, set up, planning. We deprogram, reprogram. We go over the schedule. We go over, all the mindset things. And just get you ultra prepared in every other way, so that nothing else, it gets in the way, or it could be, spread out over the first 2-3 months. So, but on the physical side, here's what you could typically expect. You could expect to feel changes within the first few weeks. Now, honestly, a lot of people drop off even before 3 weeks. The attrition rate for starting an exercise program, with or without a personal trainer situation, is something like 40 to 60. I forgot. It's huge. Let's just say it's half. And so there are people who drop off before even 3 weeks, but you, on the physical side, okay, so you work on something on the physical side for 3 weeks. And I'm looking at Clone looking at me. He's so cute. My kitty. And you'll start to feel differences. Okay, you'll start to feel differences. Now, you'll see some differences as well. I'm not promising that they're going to be positive, or that you think it is positive, because it's not typical. It's not atypical for there to be a little uptick on the weight in the first 3 weeks, and it doesn't mean that you gained fat. Okay. But within the first 6 weeks, you'll start to see and feel a difference for sure on the positive side. And then within the first 2, 3 months, your friends and family will start to see the difference. And then after about 6 to 9 months, your colleagues and neighbors and such will start to see the difference. By the time you reach the 9 month mark, you've gone through a lot, right? Whether including the consistency, the experience of consistency, the self-sustaining motivation, so the self-perpetuating motivation of having felt the benefits, seen the results, the excitement of having learned things. And at the 9 to 12 months mark, you probably have had enough experience of some sort of setback, some illnesses, some traveling, whatever, in which you've either worked with that situation, or have just come right back, without it being any drama. Okay, so after a year, you're feeling pretty good. You've got experience. Okay, now at that point between 1 and 1.5 years, hopefully you believe and know that this is something that is definitely is or could be a permanent part of your life. But the year mark, the year and a half mark, is another really, really critical marker, because with all these great benefits that you've experienced and you have under your belt, this is a time to really hone in on making sure it's permanent, and to learn and to build on the skills, because practicing consistency is one thing, ultra important, okay, because you do have to show up, but having efficiency, okay, is going to garner you results, and faster results, right? So you don't want to be consistent in doing things inefficient, or even the wrong way. So at this point, you really can hone in on increasing your skills, so within the physical sphere. Okay, so whether it's additional exercises or types of exercise, types of workouts, a lot. Okay, now at the point where you are very, very experienced in all these arenas, now you I would say have graduated right into it being a permanent lifestyle. But I would still build in as much time as you can and keep it going until when it really becomes permanent, is when you don't even have to think about it, right? So that means you have things happen, and it's not a matter of, oh my gosh, my workouts, like you just work around it, you work with it, right? With it, meaning you're able to create your own workouts, give yourself the workouts that you need, and become really efficient. So just another thing about, as long as we're speaking about time, when you see these advertisements and marketings about, get fit in 12 minutes a week, or 7-minute workouts, a day for a six-pack and things like that, those are only possible for the people who have built a high performance level. So for example, a true Tabata exercise are really athlete mode, okay, because no one could keep up, no one could reach that level of intensity unless you're literally running for your life. Okay, so that's a real false advertisement. You could become more efficient. So for example, if you're working out an hour and you want to cut the efficiency and the time, or you have to, you can give yourself a tremendously awesome workout between 15 and 45 minutes, and build in the warm up and the cool down and mobility and all of that. But that takes a lot of skill and education and experience to be able to do that, and give yourself what you need, not only for that day, but within a week, and then week after week after week, right? So I want you to really give yourself the 3 years to build in all this experience. Now, what's so great once things become permanent, is that instead of it being like this obsessive or like this project focus, like I said, it just becomes a part of your life. Now, the beautiful thing that happens is you're free. Okay, you're free in a couple of ways. You're free from, of course, ever having to go back and start back and whatever. But like if you need to reset, like in a way, I say I reset, every fucking day. I'm sorry, every freaking day. But it's not a big deal. Like, you have the know-how, you have the knowledge. It's not even something that you have to like wrestle over or guilt yourself over. But you also have earned, days to be lazy. I mean, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to move every day. I have to say that, but that would be hypocritical. Okay, you've earned your lazy days or whatever. But you also have this wonderful ability to be like, oh, you know what? I've always wanted to learn salsa dancing or go sailing. Okay, now you have the confidence, but also the skill with all the agility, strength, balance, flexibility, mobility training that you've built in for a year to 3 years in order to start a new actual, physical endeavor, not to mention, your personal relationship behind the doors life. But there's a lot that you could go in without fear of injury, and really really excel at. Okay, so this is the level that I really like to see people achieve, right? So that, hey, if you have fitness as a hobby like I do, great. But if not, you're free to freaking go about your day and take this off on a permanent basis. That's why if it takes you 4 years, 5 years, it doesn't matter, because once it's done, once it becomes a true part of your lifestyle, there's no going back. There's no having to start over. So think about this one-way fitness journey concept and think about living 100 years. And if you want to join the Tight Jeans at 80s club that I'll be starting.